is your host, Larry King Jr.
Hey, hello folks. Well, what we're going to talk about today is the mystery of Roanoke. What happened was very weird. People started disappearing. Well, here comes our experts, John, the assimilation expert, Sean, the Indian attack expert, and Quentin, the relocation expert. Well, how are you doing today?
Oh, we're good. Okay. Thank you for having us on the show, Larry.
Yep, thank you. Well, how about John, you start with your theory.
Alright. My theory is that what I've gathered is that the settlers probably moved inland with the Indians because they were told to leave clues. They did. But maybe John White might have read them wrong. He thought the clues would tell them that they were going to Croatia or somewhere else. But what they really meant is they were going to live with the Indians because their food supply had ran out. Also, a United States government census in the 1800s supports the theory that the white people married the Croatians because they used a comparison of names from White's list of colonists to support this theory. Also, other historical records from this time say that the Croatian Indians were called Lumbee Indians. The Lumbees look like Indians, but they live like white settlers. Also, the colonists were to leave a cross if they were in trouble. When John White came back, they found no cross. So, if they didn't leave a cross, then they probably weren't in trouble or anything like that, because he told them they should have listened. And the only thing left was CRO. Probably meaning Croatian are going to live with the Croatian Indians. So if they didn't leave a cross, that means they probably weren't in trouble and they had a plan. That's just what I've gathered. Plain and simple.
Do you have any questions? The question of if they went to the Crotons because of lack of food supply. The question is, why do you think the Indians left because of the lack of food supply?
And I said, if they left, why didn't they finish the word that they carved in?
I don't know, because that's all they did. They left CRO. They must have thought that John White was smart enough to realize that CRO meant they were going to live with the Croatian Indians. That's what I think.
Sean, how about you going with your theory?
Well, here's my theory. McMillan lived near the Indians and claimed that their ancestors came from Roanoke. According to Macmillan, the Indians spoke English and bore the last names of the lost colonists. The Indians also had European features. When John Smith came to Roanoke in his dealings with the hostile Indian chief Powhatan, he learned that the colonists had lived among the friendly Chesapeake Indians on the south side of the bay. Threatened by the instruction of white men in the region, Powhatan claimed to have been attacked the colonists and murdered most of the Indians. As a proof of his claim, he showed Smith a musket barrel and a brass mortar and certain pieces of iron that had been theirs, and they descended from Roanoke.
So, does anybody have any questions on the theory that the colonists might have got married to the Indians?
No, but why? How do you know that Powhatan wasn't lying? I mean,
Because they went and John Smith came to the Indians and they came back with all this.
okay.
Does anybody have questions with the theory of Sean, the theory that the Indians got married to the colonists?
Or the Indians killed the
Most
colonists.
of the colonists already married, so how could that be?
What he's saying is that the colonists were killed.
Yes.
That's what.
The Indians.
Okay, Quentin, you can go on with your theory.
Well, thank you for letting me be on your show. It's such a pleasure to be here. I guess you probably want me to get to the point. So my theory is, well, they relocated because Spain attacked them, and well, Spain was so big at the time they couldn't have fought back. They would have just all died. So instead, they relocated. They lost that land, but they still kept their religion and their beliefs alive for like probably many years. So then that's,
Well, where did they have relocated to, though?
they just, I'm not too sure really, but they relocated. And my proof is that colonist White himself made maps for them to relocate so they know where they were going.
Okay.
I don't really have where they relocated to, but they did relocate.
Does anyone have the question on Quentin's theory of them going away from the Spanish to save their lives or something? Rachel?
Why do you think it was the Spanish?
Because, well, Spanish at the time they wanted to be bigger and better, and because there was Spain always wanted to be bigger, so then they couldn't think of anywhere else, and they were so little, then all they had to do was just come in there with a few hundred men, and they could take them over and get their land easily.
Is there any more questions on Quentin's theory? Okay. So, do any of you why do you think yours is better than the rest?
I think mine is better than the rest, has a better explanation, because if you can't find where they relocated to, how can you say they relocated, and how do you know that they didn't go and be hermits in the forest and stuff like that?
You've got a point.
But even though they went to the forest, they still relocated.
And why would Spain worry about that little colony? If you're saying the colony was so little, why would Spain worry about a colony of about 60 people when they could go find other places, go buy slaves from Africa and capture them and get about 1,000?
Because
seriously,
then they could.
Wouldn't you rather have 1,000 slaves than 60?
But they could. That would still add.
It's 60.
It would still add to it.
I guess.
It would still add to their land, and then they could. Then
But it wasn't much then. The land that they took over, that the Roanoke colonists, was only probably about the size of, I don't know, maybe Richland County.
But it's still land. It's still some land.
It is still land, but why not go down to like the Philippines or somewhere else when you could get 1,000 slaves?
But then they could go from there and
more land?
expand. They could expand from what they took over from the Roanoke. They could
So what you're saying
expand it.
is they could claim more land.
Yes.
But I'm also saying, I didn't know they relocated when they could have just been hermits in the forest or with the Indians or something like that.
But I think what he's trying to say is, if they went to be hermits in the forest, they were still relocated.
Yes.
Yeah, but not, no, but...
Well, and it says that they killed most of them in here, but they didn't kill all of them. So they still could have relocated.
Yeah, but the people that wouldn't have been killed probably would have been injured very badly. Couldn't do much work.
Or some could have got away. But they could.
Yes, but-
It does if they're hurt and they.
I still
relocate.
I still say mine has the best explanation for why.
Okay, Sean, why do you think yours is better than the rest of these?
Because I think that mine tells why they moved and what happened to them while they were there.
Does anyone have any questions to debate about his?
I mean, if they found iron, sure, but
What?
I'm with this.
probably could. How do you know that Powhatan wasn't just, his warriors weren't just digging up one day and all of a sudden found a piece of iron or something? And how do you know they weren't smart enough and they found little iron pieces and melted them down into shapes or something like that?
Because he showed them.
Yeah, but you could have shaped them, knew they're coming, shaped them, and shown them to them, and they would have believed it.
That is possible.
It is possible, but you'd have to have so much
Yeah.
heat where you can get that.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They have large fires though.
Yeah.
Quentin, you can go on with your theory. Why do you think yours is the best?
I think mine is the best. It doesn't. John's right. It doesn't really tell where they relocated, but it does have a theory that they did relocate.
They relocated because of the Spanish, right? The Spanish were threatening.
It could be Spanish or any other like littler colonies or anything, but most likely, why wouldn't it be Spanish? Because even though they could get big, humongous land and thousands of more people, it's still
that much more land that Spain will have, and then from there they can have like a base or something, and then just add on to it.
Okay.
So even though it doesn't tell where they went, it's still.
So you're saying that the Spanish are like just these little, kind of like a huge colony of rogues that just wanted to kill everybody and get a little bit of land.
But still, they could.
They could still get
before
yeah.
the fight even started.
And even if Spain could have missed some of them, and some of them could have relocated, like how Sean's theory says that they killed some of them.
but not all of them.
Yeah.
Or they could have killed
those
them all.
some could have relocated, even though they might have been injured or hurt. It would have been hard for them to relocate, but they still could have.
Does anybody have a question on any of these theories? Marshall?
I don't get why would the Spanish attack the tiny colony?
Because at the time Spain wanted more land.
Do you see why?
More
Because
Oh, so they're trying. So
but
they're just
why
trying to
get 60 people when you could travel somewhere else and get 1,000?
But John, I know they could get 1,000, but guess what? It would actually be worse if you would travel way over there to get 1,000, and then they could start, because everything starts with just a little thing and then expands. And Spain could do that with the Roanoke. They could start out with just that little piece of land, those little saves, and just expand it.
Because why would you
And
want
they
to
could use all their
like way far away just to...
No, I'm not saying far away. Go down to Egypt or Arabia. Go down there, capture all the
they're gonna be
rogues and
harder.
people.
They're gonna be harder to get, so they're gonna need.
And use them as little spies.
But they're gonna be harder. Yeah, they could capture the Roanoke Indians and use them as spies and all that, and they could use their.
Yeah, but if
could
the
use their
Roanoke
resources.
Indians didn't like the Spanish, they'd probably lie as being spies. So,
But
I mean,
but you don't know that
seriously.
yet. But then
No, we don't
they
know.
could.
But we all have theories, don't we?
But John, yeah, but they could. But
But no one has
even
the
though
exact-
it's just a little land, they still had quite a few resources, because they could use their food, their houses, all their if they had like everything to help them attack the Spanish.
We're done.
Well, I think we found our theories very convincing, and I'm pretty sure this is the end of the debate. And thank you for watching.
Yeah, thanks.